Yeah, well, here we are again on our groceries thing. This is perhaps of interest to expats who are thinking of actually coming over. I know that when I first started coming around to the idea that I could live abroad, one of the things that I was concerned about was that I would end up and by some mischance, some mishap, some little glitch in receiving my pensions, I might actually be stuck with very little money. And this has happened, and I've had to learn what it's like to survive here at the grassroots level, like ordinary Filipinos who have no regular income like I do, and have to survive. You know, this is why you see malnourished children. For those of you who have been with us for a while, you'll know that Lovely, who we didn't adopt Lovely. People ask us, why didn't you adopt Lovely? We went to a seminar for adoption. I know this is off subject, but we went to a seminar for adopting, and it was clear that with my age I would not, they didn't actually say it, come out and say it, but it was evident that we would not be able to adopt. Plus they have to a foreigner it's quite a strange way of adoption. Now, whether it was because they'd already decided that we were not going to be able to adopt because of my age, I don't know. It may be. But the way that it is in the West, for all I know about adoption, is that you go to see children, and you pick somebody with whom, you pick a child with whom you have some chemistry. Because what's the point in adopting a child who is not happy with you? So the chemistry is very important, and you can only get that when you meet. So the way oversimplifying, but the way I think it happens in the West is that you go there, you meet the child that you think would settle well with you, and then you go through the procedure of adoption. And during that time you get chance to spend time with the child. The child can go on little trips with you, and you get a general feeling of adoption being possible. It's not like that here. From the impression that I got here, you really are vetted first, and it seemed to me that they choose a child for you, which seemed crazy. With Lovely, we already knew Lovely, and her mother had specifically asked us if we would take care of the children. Well, we're not able to take care of another large family, but we said that we would take care of as we could. So Lovely was a tiny little thing. She was a malnourished child because people don't always have food. So back to the subject, this little shopping spree here is because we're waiting, as many people are, paycheck to paycheck. My paycheck is like my pension. So we're waiting for my pension to come through. And while we're doing that, we have to suck it up and survive how we can. And we're also under a lot of stress at the moment, not complaining, it's just part of the adventure, as Beth always says. We're negotiating our way, or navigating, should I say, our way through the system of controls on construction. And so, in order to obtain a particular permit, there are requirements, and those requirements are electrical and I don't know, I still can't get my head around this one, but we need a fire alarm. and they've come in and they've looked at the house and they've stipulated that even as a private residence we need a fire alarm. Can you imagine? I never heard of a house with a fire alarm system. Ours is not a mansion. It is a big house, but it's not a mansion. So we have to comply. And while we're complying, we're having to face up to a large permit cost. So we're a bit house poor at the moment. So I've been out today and I've been shopping, and I took 1,200 pesos with me. Now, as you probably know from some of these electrifying videos that I've done about groceries in the past, about 1,500 to 2,000 is what I would usually shop with. Now, Beth told me go out and spend 1,000 on meat. Well, one of the best ways we've found of eating on a budget is to get the pork bones. And the pork bones, depending, can be per kilo, can be between 210 and 290, depending. So what did I get? I get them in different packs. I got them in 4 packs because if they're all in one pack, they don't get put in the freezer in the same way. Like we're going to use 1 pack today and then 1 pack tomorrow. We don't have to have it in the fridge. And Filipinos are not good with using the refrigerator, and they'll have meat sitting out. You've got to be careful with my Westerners' constitution. So, what have we got? I got pork, small pack. This is bones. No, this was meat. So this is more like a pork chop. It's all pork. We don't eat red meat. So that was 99 pesos. The big lie, 99.76. So 99 pesos, 100 pesos for that. And then we got pork bones. 1 pack was 144. Another pack 138. Like I say, I put them in different bags. And the last one was 144. Now, even though I'm supposed to be out and just getting meat, I need my cheese. So I gotta have cheese. I gotta have honey, and I just got some green cabbage, and I like to have apples. So I got a pack of apples, 6 apples, and all of that came to $9.98. So what are we looking at? So there's our apples in the usual pack, and as I said, 98. Had to get my honey, and it's back to its usual price of 133. So there's the honey. Here's 1 bag. 1 bag of meat. 1 bag of meat, going to go in the freezer in a minute. I've got a cabbage. Filipinos, my Filipinos are not really keen on apples. They're not really keen. There we go. Beth has already taken one of these and it's in the cooker for lunch today. But there's Edam. People asked about is the cheese any good? I'm no more a connoisseur of cheese than I am of coffee. I'm quite happy to have the sachets of coffee that they have here that they call 3-in-1, and I'm quite happy to have that. I'm really not into the American purist look of percolated coffee. It doesn't matter to me, and I'm quite happy to have the 3-in-1 coffee, which has everything in it. I shouldn't be having the sugar, but I am. So that's my little box. Look, all nicely packed and everything, and we now have another 4 days to a week of meat that will go in, and the object of having the pork on bones is because with a little bit of vegetables malunggay. We have soup. Soup, the broth that comes with it, along with rice, and you can survive. Now, the reason that I said that this video was probably of slightly greater, let me get that round, that it was slightly of a slightly higher level of interest, is because if you come in and you do have that little apprehension that what happens if you couldn't get to money. Now, this happened in several ways for us. Once, my ATM card, which is how we used to operate when I first came, my ATM card got a little damaged and it wouldn't process, it wouldn't go in the ATM machine. So we were without access to our money. And that was so difficult trying to get Wells Fargo, which was my account then, to help us. And we were talking to a representative in the States, and they're talking and saying, listen, you've got to help us. I'm here and I've got no money. So this is a real emergency. And she said, well, can't you borrow something from a friend? I said, I don't need to borrow. I've got money, and you are sending my cards to the wrong place, which is what they did. I got in touch with them finally, which is an endless problem here because you have to buy load in order to make a phone call. And as always, or usually happens, you get right through to someone with a pulse who says, just hold on for a moment and I will put this through. And you say, no, please, don't hold. Too late, they've gone. And then your load, which you prepaid, runs out. And you're faced with doing the whole thing again. Several hundred, 400-500 pesos worth of load, which you think is more than enough, and it's not. So you can be concerned about that. Now, I've got very organised friends who are coming and have got access to several different kinds of money. Now you can have access to GCash and other sources rather than just depending on the bank. So it's not quite so extreme. But if you do get into that situation where you have no money, it's quite the opposite to what people are always accusing Filipinos of only being interested in the money. And then the favourite phrase is no money, no honey. So in other words, as soon as you run out of money, your honey runs out on you. I haven't found that this is true. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Whereas I am in panic and be thinking, what are we going to do? We've got no money. And she'll tell me to stop babbling like a fool, and we'll be fine. People exist here on honey, not honey, on rice and coffee. So they have some rice, and even rice and a sprinkling of salt, and they'll live without complaining and get by. So the Filipina that you marry is such an incredible resource, because when you're in panic and you don't know what to do, because having no money is bottom line. That's it, we've got no money. It's not the bottom line to a Filipina who has been through this in her childhood and knows exactly what to do. So here we are. Beth sends me out with a shopping list for groceries that mean we can survive. So there's nothing, admittedly, I've gone out and again stole instructions, but I won't tell if you won't tell. I get honey because I also have oats, and oats are very bland without some honey, and I have that in tea as well. So I'm nearly out of honey, so I went and got honey as well. So in there's about 300 pesos that I shouldn't really have spent. But cheese, honey and an apple a day, and I'm not going to complain too much. The practical side of things, of being able to sit down and have what Filipinos call a dish with your rice, has all been handled. And you take a guess, you fill this yourself when you're there at the counter where you help yourself. They have different coloured tongs. You always use the red tongs for the pork, not mix it with other meats, and Filipinos know this very well. And we've got enough meat here that we can have a meat dish with our rice every day, and we can live. So this is a lesson in survival, is really what I'm trying to get over to you. And it's different here. When people talk about Filipinos, they're not going to be there if there's no money, as if you've got a Filipina swanning about on the couch behind you while you're sweating on having no money, and when you give her the news, she says, "Oh, okay, well, bye." Not true. And you will find that your Filipina is the biggest resource you have, because, you know, it's not just that they walk around as if they own the place. They actually do own the place, and they know how to survive here. That's it. If you've found this useful, please like, comment. I'd love to hear your comments, and subscribe, of course, because it does help us to survive as well till the next pension. Okay, so thanks for looking in, and I'll be back.